James, who is often very critical of Tesla, says that we just had a home run. He is talking about deliveries in China. This is the best week since the end of September. And a new quarterly record is now possible in China. And so Tesla jumps 5% today. The markets are also up. However, the competition is coming straight down. Only Tesla is green today. The deliveries in China were about 20% above expectations. So great numbers in China. Inventory in Europe is dropping off the cliff. No more banks failed today. We are all good now. I mean, it's not like we are going to have high inflation and bank failures at the same time, right? The latest data points on Tesla from Europe, US, and now China are starting to point to a blowout quarter of over 420,000 deliveries. Let's give it another week before popping the champagne, but this is very positive. 100% I agree with that. Normally, Tesla weekly deliveries look like this at the end of the quarter, and not like this. This happened right here because, well, at the end of a quarter, we ended up with more inventory than really necessary. And we did have that factory shutdown temporarily in December. But if this continues, which assuming that there is strong demand at current prices, then this is likely to jump again next week. And if that happens, then the buying opportunity for Tesla stock that we have right now, it will still be a buying opportunity, but you might wish that you have bought today. As long as this continues, we will see next week. Maybe the sales will slow down just like it did in the last quarter, but it seems likely that the trend will continue. It is also very helpful that we now know exactly what happened. We know that this accident was purely due to the driver not pressing the brakes. The accelerator pedal was pushed all the way down until the crash. And I think that accident slowed down sales. But now that the public knows this was completely the driver's fault, I think people are feeling better. And it shows. Comparing the data of the first 10 weeks of each quarter, if you compare it to the last quarter, you may think, oh, we are in trouble. That would be a bad comparison. You really want to compare it to the third quarter. That's when Tesla had a huge backlog still and could deliver vehicles to the customers on the wait list. But right here, that was not really the case. So we had to generate new buyers. And assuming that demand stays strong, then next few weeks may look a little bit more like here, which would suggest if you just copy this right here and you paste that here, then this suggests that maybe, just maybe, this will indeed be a blowout quarter. We'll see. This chart is perhaps the most helpful. This is our current quarter in this color, and this was the last one in blue, and Q3 is in red. And currently, I think we are matching the pattern of Q3 more than Q4. So I would expect this to be kind of similar, which would easily suggest this would be a record quarter because look at Q4, it really went downhill very fast, but Q3 skyrocketed here. And if we just average about 11,000 deliveries each week for the next few remaining weeks, then we will have a record quarter. Seems more than doable. James even thinks it could be 135,000 deliveries in China, which would be right about here. We had latest CPI inflation data, and that came out fine, just as expected, no surprises, which is good. And get ready for this. Porsche will significantly increase its prices to sustain high profits. Well, if you increase your prices by a lot, you will probably make less sales, which will make your total profits go down the toilet. Specifically, they want to maintain their profit margins as high as 20% in the long term as part of its road to less sales strategy, I think is what they really mean. I do think they are trying to create fear of missing out, which will boost some sales here, and they have to increase these prices if they want to remain profitable, but that will cost sales, which, guess what? That will increase sales of Tesla. More good news from Troy as well, even though this looks like his estimate decreased. This is from a week ago. His latest data actually is looking good this week. And more good news, when we look at BYD sales week over week are trending lower, 6% lower for pure electric models. And that is interesting because Tesla sales are increasing and BYD specifically has much cheaper vehicles. So what do you think will happen when Tesla releases a cheaper vehicle? My suspicion is BYD will look at Porsche and say, this strategy does make sense, except our strategy will be the road to not panic. Also, remember what Tom Zhu, who is one of the most important people at Tesla right now, who was in charge of China before but now has much broader responsibilities, said this at Investor Day.
Early this year, we had this price adjustment. After that, we actually generated a huge demand, more than we can produce, really.
So far, it looks like we can certainly trust Tom Zhu. Tom also said that he thinks he can build a factory in Mexico faster than the one that they built in Shanghai in China, which would indicate that factory should be ready in about 1 year because we expect the factory to break ground in about 3 months. And then Shanghai factory was built in about 9 months after the actual building of the factory started. Also, there were reports that Tesla was ending its cooperation with BYD and is not going to buy more batteries from BYD. But Elon has said that the media report is false. Relations between Tesla and BYD are positive for now. Volkswagen to invest $193 billion in batteries, raw materials in race for affordable EVs. In simple terms, they are going to be spending 56% more compared to before. But they are still investing in internal combustion engine technology as well. So, yeah, and they are only aiming for 50% all-electric sales globally by 2030. And while the numbers may sound huge, it sounds very impressive until you realize, they might be counting cell purchases as investment. There's another headline that really stunned me at first. Tesla walks away from public funding for superchargers because of payment system integration. We know that Tesla is able to get some of that $7 billion from the federal government. So not taking that money, what does that mean? Well, it turns out it's not about the $7 billion from the federal government. It's about $6 million from California. So this is nothing. Michael Burry is tweeting about the recent bank collapse. Matthew is trying to guess what the price for the Cybertruck is going to be. The reveal price was $50,000 for the dual motor and $70,000 for the tri-motor. But he thinks we can see maybe $10,000 or $20,000 over these prices. Because when you look at, for example, the Ford Raptor, that base price went from $47,000 to $78,000, and the top of the line went from $69,000 to $111,000. The government updated some crash tests, and now we have the new results. The only rating that was below good, which was acceptable, was the rear passenger restraints and kinematics rating. I am sure that Tesla team is looking at that data and is saying, yeah, I think we will improve that now. Let's go work on that. Tesla has also released a quarterly reminder to everyone that the safety of drivers using autopilot is improving and the safety of other drivers is not, as you can see from this chart. And this is the Tesla stock buying opportunity explained by Elon Musk. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.